Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Kyle?
All right. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
Hey.
And we are just days away from the shortest day of the year, which means it's going to get optimistic again.
Actually, it's going to be interesting. Supposedly the new administration is thinking of getting rid of either spring forward or fall back. They haven't said which time they're going to stay on. Wouldn't that be nice to not have to do the spring forward or whatever? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Be very nice.
We'll become like Arizona.
I would still I don't know. It's weird weather, We went from that cold and it felt Christmassy to now we're wet. And so here we are, folks. We haven't been on in a couple weeks and we're going to cram a lot of information in. There have been some crazy headlines. We're going to get to those. We're going to talk about statistics first because that's going to inform our whole conversation about luxury and where the Chicago market is headed, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't even say who we are. I'm Anne.Rossley. You're Kyle Harvey. We sell real estate in downtown Chicago. We're with Baird & Warner, Gold Coast office. And we love to talk about what's going
on. The largest independent in Chicago.
That is right.
Big news recently. Yeah. We'll talk about everything. We can just chat.
We'll talk about it all. Okay. I'm going to be a little crazy about our statistics. We're going to kind of go back and forth. I'm going to first go really fast through this because there's not a lot. Houses, 59 closed. Now, this is November, so we're like 2 weeks behind, but that's okay. Homes under contract, 44. Homes for sale, 194, the lowest ever. And then just to put it in perspective, I gave you since 2008. You can see us under the 200 there. It's crazy low. 2.4 months worth of supply. We'll talk about that soon. Median sales price is just about $1,350,000, and the average home's getting 4.3 showings per month. Okay, attached, which is condos, townhomes, and co-ops. 631. Look at this. This is the highest November number of closings in 4 years. Same with under contract, and still the number is low.
Yeah.
So I found that to be highly interesting. And again, here's what it looks like since 2008. You can see it.
Crazy, but yeah.
Right? Not so. Okay. 2.4 months supply and 444 almost is an all-time high. Okay. 2 more slides and then we're going to go into pricing. We're just down 1.1% on attached versus last year, which was down a quarter from the year before that. Mm-hmm. Single family homes are up. Despite year to date, we saw that we were down in November, but we're up. So highly interesting stuff there. And now I want to look at it by price because we're going to talk in a few minutes about the luxury market in Chicago. So this is broken down by price, and you can see on the chart, 800,000 or less, which you and I work mostly, Lincoln Park, Gold Coast. So single families under 800 don't exist in our price point, but, we're including up through, Lincoln Square, North Center, Logan Square, and there are some homes there. Yeah. So, 800 to $1.5 million is really the sweet spot. Mm-hmm. 24 homes closed in that price range. $1.5 million to 250, 14, and then 2.5 or more was 7. And now pending, you can see that between 800 and 2.25, we've got 27. A huge, that's the sweet spot of our marketplace.
Yeah.
Only 3 over 2.5 are under contract, but look at what's for sale. So there was a time when 800 to $1.5 million was the most of what was on the market. Those are scarce. Yeah. Those are like unicorn properties. If you look on the far right, you'll see purple is the most. We currently have 77 homes on the market that are 2.5 or over.
Well, these are for sale. Oh, wow. Yeah. The charts keep moving and they look sort of similar, but yes.
So, right. So if you're under 2250, you're selling.
Yep.
But there's just this, and I think it started during COVID, don't you think? Because during COVID, the luxury market was crazy town. And we were selling things within a short period of time, which we hadn't done. You know, prior to COVID, it wasn't unusual to have a year's worth of luxury inventory on the market.
Oh, certainly. Certainly.
And by luxury, I'm talking like 2250 or 25.
Yeah.
Um,
Serious luxury. I mean, just so everyone in the audience knows, in the industry, luxury is considered $1 million or more. But as prices have gone up, and as the definition of luxury has narrowed, it's really about over 2.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, the median single family in our marketplace, as we just saw, was $1,350,000. So,
and that's not a luxury house. That's a median regular house. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So here's homes for sale by price, broken down within the last 3 years, so you can really see it better.
Yeah.
Instead of the multiple years. So you can see how in 2021, we had a fair amount of 800 to 1,500,000. Now we've only got just over 40. What do we have? 42 of them and 77. So,
well, but also if you think about it, let's go back for a second. Really, in the last 10 years, builders have been building the blue homes. If you look at the MLS for new construction, in the main, I'm putting aside the luxury builders who are building in Lincoln Park, the North Center, the Logan's, the new homes are really built for the blue line, 800,000 to 1,500,000.
And they get snapped up. So you're seeing that there are a lot of them because they know they're building for the demand. Right.
Right.
But so, you're right. They're more like West Wicker Park, Logan, Avondale.
All of really the new construction. I mean, some of it is over that, but the stuff that gets snapped up right away is in that price. I mean, it's also starting in Bridgeport.
Yes.
It's happening in Hyde Park. It's happening all over. That is the target market for new homes.
Right. But you have to go out a little bit to get there.
Oh yeah. Because the land is too expensive otherwise. Yeah.
This I think is really interesting. This is the month's supply by price range. Because remember, we were just looking at the entire market as being like 2.4. But really look at it. If you look in the sweet spot of like 800 to 2250, you're only at 1.3 months or 1.7 months. It's this 2.5 and over that's bringing it to a 2.4 because they're at 8.4 months worth of supply.
Yeah.
So when we say we've got a hot market, it's generally speaking even hotter than we've been saying is my point.
But and we'll get to this, but what's getting all the news is the luxury.
Right.
And we'll dig into that a little bit more when we get there.
Right, exactly. And this I thought was interesting too. Percent sold of list price. So if you're 2.5 or over, once you get to the right price, it's still 97%.
But that's such a mess up because what they've done is they've dropped the price.
That's last list price. Yes.
It's the last list price because they're not able to maintain the data to show what it was originally. And you'll see that there are a lot of complaints from the hyper rich who are saying, I've sold it at half my original list price. And it's still 97% because it's 97%.
Yeah, right. No, it's absolutely right. But again, look at our sweet spot. Everything else is like 99% of list price is where they're selling. So
again, I would think that the orange, the 1.5 to 2.25, has had some price drops in there too.
Agreed.
But the blue and the brick red, are probably selling originally in a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, attached. We'll go through this quickly.
I like rolling around in this. Why do we have to go quickly? Anyway, keep going.
I know you do. I just worry that our viewers are like, oh my gosh, numbers, numbers, numbers. But okay, so again, this is since 2014, but again, take a look at the differential here. You know, you can see that the sweet spot for condos is really under 900,000. We've got over 500 that closed in that range. So then here's our most recent 3 years. And you can see 1.6 and above, only 16.
Wait. Closed
in the month of November, because remember, this is a monthly.
Okay, you. I'm like, holy moly.
I know, that's how to
So everyone, this is just for November sales, which are often a slow month. Okay.
Right.
Now we're back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, but still, I mean, you add these numbers up, 550, you know, you're looking at almost 600 in the month of November. Okay. Pending in the month of November by price, 15 versus the other price points.
But 15 for the month of November is pretty good at that. I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible. People are buying.
Condo market is strong. But again, we'll get to that. Okay. Attached for sale by price.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the brick, what is that? The brick and the orange. That's weird. Okay, so we have 767 and 625 up here. Okay, that's fine because those are selling a lot. But we have 189 at 1.6 or more.
But it says it's down 15%. Is that
from November of last year?
Yeah.
I always kind of hate to say that because it's kind of misleading, you know?
And here's another thing. Go back. The 1.6 or more, the purple, a whole bunch of those for sale are hiding on the private network.
Oh, that is so true. Now, this is November, and you're right. When we see November's numbers, it'll be decimated even more.
Everyone will have shifted to the private network to save days on market. Go ahead.
Okay, but let me just say this one more time. 1.6 and above, 15 went pending, but there are 189 on the market. So not even 1/10 went under contract of what was available for sale in that price range.
Wait. Pending and contract are different. Pending means it's closed in the next 2 weeks.
Pending, well, people are lazy about it.
Oh, yeah. Most people go from contingent to sold.
Right.
They don't stop at pending. So again, people, we haven't perfect it.
Right. But
it's the best we can do.
But, well, okay, let's look at it this way then. Closed in the month of November, 16 versus 189.
Yeah. And a whole bunch hiding on the private network.
So again, here's our attached month supply. 2.1, 2.1, 3.6 for the 900 to 1,000,006 and 9.5 months.
Yep.
So, okay. Percent sold of list price, again, look at that. It's very high. All right, so that's that. Now, I want to show you one more thing because I really geeked out, and I just did this right before we went on the air. This is 2024 all year, broken down by price range. So I'm really geeking out here. This is the number of days for the properties in those price points. On the left 3 columns, it's sold. The next 3 columns on the right, that's pending. The point here is you can see that let's just look at this middle column of number up here. So you got the prices on the left and the sold, the number of units, 600 to 800, 56, 52, 57, 81. And then you get to, now this is single family only, by the way, million to 1,099,000, 535. So as we said, that is the hot spot in our marketplace for single family pricing. And you can see the average market time for those was 62 days. But then as you go up, 5 million and over, 600 days, 400 or 4 million and over, 112 days. Here it is. And you can see it by price. When you get to that high price, the number of days just goes off the charts.
Yeah.
And here's both sold and pending, and it goes off the charts. Here's active. Now, that was only one property, by the way, so that's an outlier. So anyway, my point is, higher the price, the longer the market time, luxury is sitting. So that leads me to you. We're going to talk about behind the headlines. And because I screwed us up, you're going to have to bring up your slideshow again.
It's there.
Oh, I don't see it.
It's under present. It's right there.
I don't have it, darling. Bring it up again.
How do I bring it up?
There you go. Now it's there.
There we go.
You bring it up just like that. That's how you do it.
Look how, so people, I just want you to know that I am a real estate.
Now, she's talking only to people. She's not talking to cats or dogs. Just in case you're wondering, Rufus and Hazel are not being addressed here right now.
Graphic design is not my strength. So
you did great on this.
Note how pretty.
Don't you dare apologize. This is awesome. You killed it.
Okay. So, and we're going to redo the coffee cup with the new BW logo when we have for 2025. So the topics today are the recent reporting, Wall Street Journal, we're calling you out, on Chicago luxury prices. The New York Times, the second topic is the New York Times. Oh, what are you doing?
Wait, what happened there?
Reporting on buyer frustrations. That was in yesterday's front page. And then interest rates, what's happening? We have a Fed meeting this week. Okay. So, and yes, there's too much data. There's too much type.
You can read it to us.
On here. Okay. So the Wall Street Journal reported on Friday that it's not just Ken Griffin. Rich Chicago residents are losing their shirts on real estate. Ken Griffin owned the top 4 floors of the most expensive and probably the premier address in Chicago, 9 West Walton.
Right.
I understood, and I don't know whether this is true, that he wanted the top 4 floors, but he wanted them different than the floors that the Lechinger company was planning to do. So that's why it looks sort of like a top hat on top of a building. They're higher ceilings, bigger, and it's got a private entrance. He gave up on Chicago. He never built out the space, and he gave up on Chicago and put these 4 floors on the market separately. And recently, our governor, J.B. Pritzker, bought 2 floors, and somebody else has bought the other 2 floors. And Ken Griffin sold 2 of the floors at a 44% loss. That's the headline, and that's what he's saying. But Ken Griffin is known for buying real estate at a crazy premium. He bought a condo in New York for $250 million. So what he paid was not market price. But that's the headline, and our governor is going to move in there. Luxury condo sales, and they point this out, are dropping. And Anne has shown you all that data for right now, this minute. They have dropped, sales over 4 million, Anne was pointing out 5 million, have dropped 28% since 2021, that first year of the pandemic when people were buying. And the median sales price is down, particularly downtown and the Gold Coast. So really the near North Side and the Loop.
But see, you and I both know statistics are crazy. I would argue that median sales prices for condos are not down. Now, if you want to take in a building over time, maybe you can find one that's down, but the median sales prices for condos and attached are an all-time high.
We're talking luxury. I think they're talking about sales over 4 million.
Okay. Well, sales over 4 million. Well, yeah.
This is a very sad story for the hyper rich. There's a small violin playing.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Single family homes are doing well. Median sales prices of homes over $1 million are up 14%. We've already talked about that. Homes in New York are doing less well. What people say are causing the problems. Crime is not retreating. Murders are way down, but robberies are less down than other cities that experienced the spike during the pandemic. We have a stubborn crime problem here in Chicago. Empty nesters who used to come in from Winnetka, Highland Park, Naperville are sort of saying, you know what, I'm going to stay out in my safe little suburb. And Chicago has never had international buyers parking their money in real estate in Chicago. You know,
we thought we might get some with the Wanda Vista, and then that collapsed. But that would have been the first huge foray.
Yes. They park their money in Miami, they park their money in Los Angeles, and they park their money in San Francisco and New York.
And New York, right. Or Canada. Some in like...
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm talking about America, yeah.
Right.
London is a city full of empty luxury properties. So, you know, that's part of the problem. And so I looked at this. What else could be impacting this drop in prices? And Anne and I go to these brokers' opens, and we see some of these hyper luxury properties that are for sale. And I'm going to tell you my experience. I very rarely go in there and say, the next person who buys it is going to just want it. They're going to move in and love it. There are a few properties that are like that, but most are older. Most are very particular in style and taste.
Right.
And most are in buildings that have not kept up with the technology of homes. New homes now are very techno-controlled, techno-savvy, and a lot of these very expensive properties were built 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and just aren't. They aren't.
Right.
They haven't been kept up with technology.
Well, one of the ones that we've talked about before and that has been bandied around and around and around is that sale at the Four Seasons building, 132 Delaware. And they were like, oh, it sold for less than what they bought it for. Well, that's the prime example. You have a building that was built around, what was it, in the 1990s, that building.
Right.
And then you don't improve it. And the building didn't keep up with its improvements. And you know, it's like a suburban neighborhood, we talked about this, like a split level ranch, you know, they are just not in style anymore. You've got the dark brown cabinets. You've got in some cases, floors of marble or granite. People don't want floors of marble or granite anymore. And that's highly expensive to take out. So if you don't put the money in and keep it up, number one, but to your point, you know, you were talking about the house that had the catwalks. Talk about that.
Well, first, let's go back to the Four Seasons, 132 East Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
It was built before every other luxury building was built that has floor-to-ceiling windows. Right. It has thigh-to-ceiling windows, but it looks like a hotel.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's not what's cool. Now, there are two condo associations within that building. The second one is lower at 77 East Walton. And that has floor-to-ceiling windows because it was the commercial space. And the commercial space was built out with floor-to-ceiling windows. It looks much more modern. There are a bunch for sale in that building, too. But
Well, and their floor plans are more sophisticated.
absolutely,
They're,
20 years later that they were built out. But what I have found are two things. Luxury sellers have taken a beautiful property and made it their own. They have turned it into their dream home that's fitted out in the ways that they want to live. There's a house, and Anna and I are talking about this. A house, it's at like 1401 Astor Street. It's really on the corner of Astor and Schiller, and it's been for sale forever. And it is very specific. Effectively, a previous owner gutted it and put catwalks in the center from across the floor. So it looks like, but it's this old, it's a 100-year-old, 120-year-old house with catwalks. And the next owner is like, and they want effectively $4 million for it. And no one wants to pay them $4 million. And so one of the other things on the slide that we had before was sellers are pricing it not based on the market, not based on what they've done to the property, but on what they paid and then a premium. And the answer is no one wants your taste. I can say this to you now because I don't have a client right now who I'm not speaking to any of my clients personally, but I'm speaking to all of you sellers in the luxury space. No one wants your taste. They have their own taste. Your taste may be fantastic. But
and again, we're talking about luxury, where people can afford to have exactly what they want. Exactly. If you're an entry-level buyer, you're going to have to make choices and balance location, amenities, whatever, because and most of America, let's face it, the 99.9% of us, we balance it out. But the luxury buyer, they want what they want, and they want it when they want it.
And if somebody who's going to pay $4 million or $5 million for a property, your place may be perfect, but they're going to want to change.
Right. Absolutely right. So
they'll price it in there. I'm going to invest $1,000 a square foot. And my response is on what? But they want to change it.
And going back to like the Four Seasons, if you're selling a condo or a co-op, Kyle, at $2 million, your clients expect Lutron. They expect remote shades, right? They expect heated floors and bathrooms.
Yes.
There are just certain things they expect.
And they do not want developer finishes.
No.
They want you to have done something perfect that is not what the developer did.
Right.
And I'm looking at, 77 East Walton was built in about 2010 or built out in around 2010. And it was, what's his name? Gone right on my Nagel. You know what? Those people. I forget the name. Anyway, very well respected architects and good choices, really good choices. But all those kitchens are the same, and they're all for sale with the same. No one's changed the kitchen at all, and except one. But put that one to a side because it's highly unique. But they're not going to. The next owners don't want those kitchens. They're all dark brown wood. Nobody wants it. And so it's the price that people are going to get is for a changed kitchen. It's just the days of expecting your high property to go up in value when you've made when it's already expensive, when you bought it expensive, is done.
Right.
In Chicago, you're not going.
And let's say this one more time. I say this to every buyer I ever work with. You do not make money on the sell side. You make your money on the buy side.
Yeah.
So if you want that luxury address and you're willing to pay a lot for it and put money into it, great, but you're not going to get that money back out.
Probably
So.
not. Especially if you have some dream that you want to experience, a way of life you want to experience through your home, you're not going to get it out.
Right.
Right. So, okay.
But okay. Wouldn't you summarize though by saying, "Oh, you have more. Oh, go, girl."
No. That's just this on this story.
Okay. Keep going.
So, yes, the hyper expensive properties are selling at much less, but there's a reason for it. They're overpriced to start. They haven't been invested in. Stylistic choices make them unappealing. And in Ken Griffin's case, he way overpaid.
Right.
According to the New York Times, and we all know this, and this is just to summarize what we've been saying all year round. The buyers are really frustrated because there's just not enough, and there are not enough properties, and what exists is being snapped up because most of the buyers are in the lower entry-level range.
Right.
Low inventory, especially at entry-level prices, rising home prices, and today's mortgage rates are higher than most homeowners have in place, which is why all of that spells inventory problem. Right. This market was the slowest, meaning numbers of transactions, since 1995, when the population of the U.S. was something like 20% lower. Okay, crazy. That's scary. And the problem is caused by supply, not demand. And Anne and I talked about this earlier this year. In the U.S. is underbuilt for homes. Zillow says we are short $4.5 million homes nationwide. Freddie Mac says that number is only 3.7 million homes. So, and the reason for that is borrowing costs are higher, labor costs are higher, material costs are higher than they've ever been, and right. New housing starts in September, which is a big month for housing starts because you still have good weather in America, dropped 6.9% nationwide. Yeah. So it is not being solved in 2024-25. 2025, unknown, but the National Association of Home Builders expects 1 million new homes next year. That's a start.
It doesn't cover the shortfall.
So this morning I got an article from NAR, the National Association of Realtors. It says that their chief economists and the chief economist for realestate.com are saying they're optimistic about growing inventory. And the growing inventory that they're citing in these articles are interest rates are likely to be in the sixes, which they've been for a couple of days, for a little
right.
bit. And that home sellers are going to be finally willing to trade their homes. That's low enough for people. So right now, according to the data, 70% of homeowners have a mortgage of 4% or less. So they're saying that 6% mortgage is close enough to spur sellers who are finally wanting to move to be by the kids in wherever or trade down or whatever to sell. When you have a mortgage of under 4% or less, you have two assets, your home and your mortgage. That right. Mortgage is an asset in today's economy. So I think there's some happy talk coming out of NAR and real estate and realtor.com, because in 2023, that was the same case. No one sold. 2024, that's the same case. Nobody sold. It'll be interesting to see if finally 2025 they start to sell.
Right. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay. And mortgage rates are not, there's a meeting of the Fed Tuesday and Wednesday. It's likely that the Fed rate will drop a quarter point. But that will not affect mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are not tied to the Fed rate. They're tied to the outlook, a whole bunch of data that comes in, monthly, et cetera. And so the mortgage industry does not expect mortgage rates to drop until more information is received about what the economy is going to do under the new administration.
Right.
So,
right.
All that happiness. That's all
that happiness. So I'm going to close this out with one interesting story.
Yes.
Number 23 sold his home. Michael Jordan finally, after a decade, sold his home in Highland Park. Oh, I did this right before we went on the air. It did not. It was in 2012. It was offered for $29 million, folks. This is what happens when I'm hurriedly trying to get ready for the show. This is what it looks like. So he had it listed for $29 million originally. Oh, wow. There's a shot of inside. There aren't a lot of pictures available. There's the outside and the pool. And I did not show the basketball court or the fitness room. They're glorious as you would expect. But he finally sold it for $9,500,000 from $29 million. So there you go. Specific taste.
Well, specific taste, but also he bought up land that was not particularly great land. He was west, not in the fancy part of Highland Park. So it wasn't. No one thought he was going to get $29 million. Right.
Well, he was trading on his name and it was aspirational, but yeah. So it finally sold. So that's the story, folks. Thank you for watching. Kyle, great to see you. We will see you in the new year. Everyone enjoy your holidays. We're going to be enjoying ours. And we look forward to seeing you with more behind the headlines and scoop on real estate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.